We're going to be adding and subtracting rationals. So what you have to do is you have to find the prime factors of each expression. So 12 is 3 times 2 times 2 times x times y. And then you find the factors of x squared plus 2x plus 1. It's x plus 1 and x plus 1. 18xy cubed is 3 times 3 times 2 times x, and then you have y times y times y. And then the factors of x squared plus 5x plus 4 are x plus 1 and x plus 4. Now we got to figure out what do they have in common. So they have a 3 in common, they have a 2 in common, they have an x in common, and they have a y in common, and they have x plus 1. Now that we have a common factor, we're gonna use that information and figure out which one we had the most. So here we had the most here. We have 3 times 3. Now we had the most here, 2 times 2. We had the most here, x times x. We had the most here, y times y times y. And here we had the most x plus 1 times x plus 1. And of course we have to include this one since we didn't have anything in common. So our LCM is going to be 3 squared times 2 squared times x squared times y cubed, x plus 1 squared, or x times x plus 4. So it's right here. What is the LCD of each pair of rational expressions? Find the sum and difference of the rational expressions in simplest form. State any restrictions. So we have 15y, which is 3 times 5 times y. 6z is 2 times 3, so we have 3 here, and we have 3 here, we have 2 here, we have 5, and we have y and z. So our LCM is going to be 2 times 3 times 5 times y times z, so it's 30 yz. So I'm going to rewrite the rational. So you have 2x over 15y, and then I have the other rational, y over 6z. So our LCM is 30 yz. So the question is, what do I multiply the denominator to get 30 yz? So you're gonna have to multiply times 2, because 15 times 2 is 30. We already have a y, so you have to multiply times z. So you multiply this times 2 times z. And so your rational is going to be 2 times 2 is 4xz. And this is going to be over 30 yz. Now you tell me what you have to multiply 6z to get 30. So it's going to be times 5. We already have a z. So you multiply times y. So you multiply the numerator times 5y. And what you get is 5y squared over 30yz. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add, and we do have the same denominator. So it's 4xz plus 5y squared. It's right here. The next thing we had to do was subtract, and it's right there. And we know our restrictions, y can be 0 and z can't be 0. So our two denominators are x squared, and the other denominator is x squared minus 9, and I'm going to put it in factored form. X times x, and this is x plus 3 times x minus 3. You notice they have a common factor. So by default, x times x and x plus 3 times x minus 3 is the LCM. So LCD. That is the LCD. So I think they wanted us to add and subtract. So we have 2 over x squared, and the other one is 16 over the factors, which are x minus 3 and x plus 3. So to change this fraction to have a common denominator, you multiply times x squared. So that's going to be 16x squared over, I'm going to go ahead and say x minus 3 times x plus 3 times x squared. I'll put it in the back for right now. What you're actually doing is you're multiplying by 1. This over here, you're going to multiply the top fraction. You're going to multiply x minus 3 times x plus 3, and you multiply 2x minus 3 times x plus 3. So this is going to become 2, and you have x minus 3 times x plus 3, and then your denominator will have x squared, and then you have x minus 3 times x plus 3. What is the sum of the two rationals? In simplest form, we know that the first denominator is x minus 1. The second denominator is x squared minus 3x plus 2, which in factor form is going to be x minus 1 times x minus 2. So our LCD is actually, they share 1 in common. So it's x minus 1. And then they also share x, they don't share x minus 2. So it's going to be x minus 1 times x minus 2. That's the LCD. So we have x over x minus 1. And then we have 2x minus 1 divided by x minus 1 times x minus 2, which is the LCD that we want. So we have to change the first fraction, and you notice that it already has an x minus 1. The only thing that it's missing is an x minus 2, so it's going to be x minus 2. Now, whatever you do to the denominator, you also have to do to the numerator. So you have to multiply by x minus 2. So let me go ahead and rewrite this. We have x squared minus 2x. I went ahead and multiplied. And we have x minus 1 times x minus 2. Now what we have in the second fraction, we have 2x minus 1 over x minus 1 times x minus 2. Now we can go ahead and we can add, since we have the same denominator. The same denominator is x minus 1, x minus 2, x minus 1, x minus 2. So we're going to go ahead and add. So we have x squared. Negative 2x and 2x is gone. It's going to be 0. Minus 1 over x minus 1 times x minus 2. I'm going to simplify because we know that x squared minus 1 is the same thing as saying x plus 1 times x minus 1 divided by x minus 1 times x minus 2. So this is going to become 1. So the sum of the expression is x plus 1 over x minus 2, where x can't equal 1 and x can't equal 2.